Good morning. Sorry, I'm trying to refresh my computer and for some reason, right, now I can do it, I think. Okay. I'm sorry, but oh, there it is, it's there. Morning. Okay, sorry about that. I hope you can hear me okay. Honestly, I've been sitting there for 20 minutes waiting to go live. And then it gets to 10:30 and it's like, couldn't get anything to work. Oh dear, never mind. Thank you, Philippa, that's brilliant. And good morning to everybody and thank you for joining me. Just going to do a couple of quickish cards. I hope they're quick anyway. I'm going to make a couple of cards with you this morning. Want to share something that Philippa had done, and I don't ever think to do this, so I thought I'm going to give that a go, and I was really pleased with the results. Let me flip the camera and I can show you properly. And Lynn, you are so good being on a treadmill. I don't know. Right, let me get the camera right. Okay. Craft workshops at the barn from Somerset. Oh, good morning. How lovely to have your company. How lovely to have everybody's company. Thank you. At one point, I thought it was just going to be me and Philippa. But it wouldn't have mattered. I understand. Everybody has lives and there's so much going on. But thank you so much to everybody for joining me. It's fabulous. Okay, so like I was saying, I saw Philippa's card where she'd die cut into something and then put her stamping on the inside, and it's not something that I think to do very often, so I just thought I'm going to give it a go and make it really simple, if you like, card. So I've stamped my birthday background onto a piece of card and then die cut my daisies from it and then use that as the mask to line it up so that I can stamp my daisies onto my actual card. And I've used my rectangle layers, frames and banners die so that I created like that nice white border frame around it. And then I've used my message banners, and I want to show you a tip about the message banner dies and lining them up. I got sent something in the post, it's called stencil film. It's Mylar, but it's only 190 GSM, so it's quite flexible, and it's really good for, I thought we could use our die cuts in it and actually make something that would last. So like the waste that I've been using for my flowers, I might actually do them all out of the stencil, the ones that I know I'm going to use a lot, and I know I will use this stamp set a lot. I'm going to die cut, I think I'm going to die cut them into this stencil film and make myself something a little bit more substantial that's going to last, and I can use that all the time to line all my die cuts up. But I can also then use them as stencils, especially if I do the leaf ones. Just thought that might be a good idea, but I've actually done it for my message banner die, and this can be quite fiddly lining it up afterwards, so it's worked really well. So I'm going to share that with you as well, and I have die cut some spares so that I've got some bits and pieces to use. So just want to say hi to everybody that's joined us. Thank you so much, Bev. I'm so glad you got back in time, and just lovely to have everybody's company. Okay, so I've got a 6x4 card. I have a piece of A6 card that I'm going to stamp my background on and then do my die cutting in. And I've already die cut one of my rectangle frames so that that's ready to go. So I'm going to move those out of the way a little bit. And this was the bit that I had left, and I just thought, oh, I want to make a card out of it. And I just thought, oh, wouldn't it look lovely with the hexagon? So I might do that, but we'll see. If not, I've got another card that a lady asked me to show how to do the row of daisies with the vellum behind it. So I'm going to do that one as well. I made this one yesterday using dried marigold. So today I'm going to change it up, and I'm going to use picked raspberry today. And then the card that the lady asked me to do, which was pink originally, I'm going to do in dried marigold. So I'm swapping it around. Because I do like, once I've made one card, it's like, I'm really funny about making it again. Okay, so first up, now I've got my daisy stamp in here ready for later. Let's take that out a second. I don't need that just yet. I finally, although I had my pages done for my stamps and dies, I finally put them all together and then named it. So when I put it in my drawer, I can see what it is. Okay, so in here I have my birthday background stamp, which I absolutely love. So this has obviously got to be a birthday card. But I thought I could put, just wanted to say, and then inside you could put a happy birthday message. So just pop it back down, make sure it's into the corner. You can just hold it in place just at the top there. And then I'm going to ink up my stamp, and I've got picked raspberry. Now, when I use distressed oxides, because they're not very flat as an ink pad, I tend to wipe them over my stamp first of all, and then I go back in and just give a good tap just to make sure I've got a really nice coverage, because some of my ink pads are a bit dry, some of them are a bit better than others. And then I can bring this over. You can always stamp again if your ink pads are getting dry, don't forget that. Or if you want to make your colour slightly darker, which is actually what I did with this. I stamped this first of all in squeezed lemonade, and it was a bit too bright yellow, if that makes, yeah, of course it makes sense. It was a bit too bright, so I went over it, didn't clean it, just went over with dried marigold and stamped a couple of times, just so that I got the background. It's there, but it's nice and subtle. So if you want, with the pink one, and I think I probably do, I'm going to go over it again. So I do tend to just like swipe or go round in circles so that you're getting a nice coverage of ink. And then you don't need to be pushing quite so hard with your platform either. So you can just go in with normal amount of pressure. And then each time you're going to go back in, you're going to get slightly darker impressions showing. So if you're happy with that, that's fine. If not, make sure it's really tucked into the corner before you go again if you want to keep going with your colour. But I think that's a bit more even now. It wasn't particularly even the first time, so I think I'm a bit happier about that. Oh, do you know what? I had a lovely parcel arrive just before I went live as well. I know I'm teasing, but I can't show you it, but oh, can't wait to show you it, if you know what I mean. Okay, so next up I need my daisy die, and I will need my daisy stamp. So I'm going to actually take my, I'm going to clean this, don't lose the die. Let's quickly, I wasn't going to take this out, but I am going to, because I need this one, because I've actually got a second stamping press out, but I'm going to use that one for my message banner. Okay, so let's clean this. Ooh, was it a craft parcel that you were waiting for, Gail? I bet it was as exciting as mine. Okay, so I'm going to place this down, and I want to put it sort of centrally, but I want to put it towards the top a little bit more, because I want to have room to put my sentiment down below. Ooh, how lovely, Wendy. How like, yeah, I'm sorry, Gaynor, I am teasing again. And Penny. And Philippa. Yeah, Philippa, you haven't even seen it yet, have you? but you will very soon, love. Okay, so I want to place this, like I was saying, to a bit more towards the top than the bottom, and then I can die cut this out. So because I don't want it to move, I am going to use a bit of tape, which I don't normally bother with, but I am going to, because I don't want it to move. So bear with me while I just die cut this. Now, obviously, the bit that you get that comes out, you can use for another card, which is this bit here that I'm going to use for another card. I know, I'm so bad, aren't I, Wendy? But you should know me by now. Okay, so I'm just going to pop this out. And the one thing I would say is you do need to make sure, because we use distressed oxide, there could be some ink on here now from the die cut that's wet. So what I would always do is just with a cloth, just wipe your die cuts, because just be aware that if you have die cut them when your ink is wet, there is a chance it could pick up some ink from it, and I wouldn't want you to spoil something else that you were doing. Okay, so I need to bring my stamping press in. And now I need to put my card blank in my stamping press. I'm going to put that in round the other way. And then I'm actually going to cut this down, I think, before I do this, so that it fits my frame. So I'm going to have a quick look roughly where I need to do it. I want to be able to get this at the top. So I'm just going to cut the top, leave a little bit of a gap at the top so that I can glue that onto the frame and still be able to read that top line. And obviously I need to do it so it's roughly in the middle. So I can take it to about there. So then I'm just going to trim this down, and it is a bit trial and error. It's always best not to take too much off, because you can always come back in and take a bit more off afterwards. So maybe trim it up so you've got no white around it to start with. And then we can come back in and then we can see, right, so I feel like it needs to have a bit more off of this side. So let's take a little bit off of that side. That should be enough. You obviously don't want to be able to see it through the scallops, and that's quite perfect. Okay, so that's going to get rid of that last line, and I am actually just going to take a slither so that I don't get to see the piece of card behind the scallops. I want it to be a scallop edge. Okay, so let's have a look and just check. That looks fine. And if I turn it over, that's looking okay. Yeah, right, so let's glue this in place. So I would always put glue on my frame, because that's the bit that I'm sticking to my card. So a bit of glue around the edge. And I'm sorry, I haven't been reading the comments. Let me just catch this up. Right, make sure I've got the line that's straight at the top so I can read those nice birthday wishes. That all looks okay to me. It's quite nice and straight at the bottom. So just firm this down and just give that a little bit of time to go off. So then I can very quickly. Oh, thank you. I'm so pleased with the new stamps. I really am. Oh, right, tennis racket. Wow, that sounds good. I love this birthday stamp. I think we could almost do with a friendship one. Okay, so then I'm going to just rub away if there's any excess little bits of card. Let's get rid of them now. So I'm just running my nail across the back, and I can't believe how much still comes off. Okay, so back to my stamping press. So I have my card blank in my stamping press. I can put on my frame where I want, exactly where I want it to be on my card, and hold it down with my magnet. Then I can get my daisy stamp, and using the frame, now I need to make sure that this is clean, so I am actually going to just give it a clean, because you don't want to put any dirty ink where you don't want it to go, obviously. Okay, so we can place this down in the aperture, feeling that it like locks into place, and that has. Pick the stamp up, but I'm going to take my frame away, put my magnet back down to hold everything in place. And as long as nothing has moved, so always check that first of all your card's back in the right corner, and I'm going to place that down. I mean, if it isn't in the right place, you can stamp it again because you've done it directly onto your card. Check that the stamping is okay, which it is, and I just clean my stamp again. I'm going to leave it in there this time. I don't think I need my press again. We will see. So now when I come and put this down, that lines up, oh, just about. You didn't do a very good job there, Julie. Oh, that's not too bad. Okay, so on the back of here, I'm going to put my foam pads. Sorry, Philippa. This is just quick and easy. I could do this with cardboard, and but I would cut strips and pieces out, but just for speed for today, I'm going to use foam pads, and I do still have some to use up. So, okay. So I'm going to cut a few down. I just go straight, I tend to go straight down the middle, and then that way I can peel them off quite easily. There we go. Okay, so now this is ready to sit down, and it's going to go over the top, and it's going to line up fine. That looks absolutely fine. Oh, I've got that bit hanging down over a petal. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so because I've done this in pink, this time I'm going to colour in pink and green, and I need a water brush as well. No, the friendship Oh, Jenny, I'm sorry. I can't think that quickly. These stamps take months to plan, you know. No, it's not what's in the parcel, I'm afraid. What is in the parcel, I am very, very happy about. And this morning, I will share with the DT what it is, so they know what to expect in the post soon. But no, I wish things did work quite as quickly as that. Okay, so I'm just using my clean colour pens. I could have used my ink pad so that I had exactly the same colour, which is always a good way if you're lacking a little bit with colours and that. Just use your ink pads to colour your stamped images. There is some sentiments in there, funnily enough. In fact, I think every set has got some sentiments in, and then there is actually a I'm looking on the floor because I know you can't see I'm looking on the floor, but I am, because they're sitting on the floor behind me. I think there's sentiments in every pack actually. So yeah, and at some of the sentiment actual pack, the whole pack of sentiments, is actually something that customers have asked for, which is always lovely. I do love doing that because it's like, well, they should sell because the customers asked for them. So now I'm just coming down with my pen very carefully to do my green stems, or as carefully as I can. A little bit of colour on each leaf. And then I can drag that colour out, make sure I've got my pink off. Oh, that doesn't look like I did. I have to come back over that one. Okay, let's put a little bit more in there. Let's see if I can make that a bit more green. That's not too bad. Okay, so the only other thing I desperately need is some yellow middles. Okay, pop those back in there. Trying to be tidy. I couldn't get over how tidy Philippa is the other day when she crafts. Okay, so I'm going to take my backings off. Oh, have a lovely day and enjoy catching up. Oh, from the airport, how exciting. No, I haven't got a dog, but somebody's let their dog out in the garden. Not my garden, but somebody else's garden. Although I do have a field behind me, so I think actually the dog... No, that's a bird. I don't know where the dog is. No, I haven't got a dog. Okay, so now this is the difficult bit because you have to put this down in one go. So I'm trying to get a nice even border, but I'm also trying to get my daisies in the right place. There we go. Perfect. So just take your time. Maybe even if you left this in your stamping press, or if it was on your make art board, it would hold it in place. So I'm happy with that. So let me just pop that out of the way. And I want to bring in my other stamping press and bring back in. So this is the stencil film. This is Mylar, but it's only 190 GSM. So I die cut my message banner. I've recently treated myself to a sticky mat. So I have a sticky mat in here now. So I die cut this from the stencil, and then the centre will fall out. And then I spent some time putting Scotch tape along the lines. Actually, if I get this out, bear with me, because my tacky mat's quite tacky at the moment, which is always a good thing. But apparently you can wash them in soapy water to bring them back to being tacky. So I will see. So I spent some time putting Scotch tape on the back so it holds all those little bits of the die, the little bits between the banners, in place, because they're so flimsy. Wanted to do that so that it held them and would make the structure like good, so I can use it again and again and again. Oh, that's a great tip, Yvonne. Put some wet glue on the back of your foam pads and it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. That is an excellent tip. Philippa, we need that as the next great tip. That is a fantastic tip, Yvonne. Put some wet glue on so it gives you that wiggle room. If you don't get it quite right, it will move around until the glue starts to adhere. That's a great tip. Okay. Becky, no, unfortunately, I won't be at Sandown. No. Okay, so I'm placing this down on my sticky mat. It doesn't matter about the lines really, but I'm just sort of using them as a guideline. I'm firming this down so that is now held in place on my sticky mat. And I have already lined up my stamp, but it's dead easy to do. It won't be in the right place now because I moved it. So let's do that again. So it has little hearts that you can line up, but to be honest with you, I tend to do it by eye. That looks about right, but I will check again once I've got my banners in place. This one looks a little bit. So what I did on the back of my Scotch Magic tape was I put a little bit of anti-static bag over it, so it's still got a little bit of tack, but it's a lot less tacky than it was. And I've already gone ahead and die cut some white tags and some black tags, because I thought white embossing on the black is lovely as well. So you can either fill them all up. So if you put your card pieces in, and you can butt them up and then up against the skinny bits in between. And this is going to mean that it's holding it, it's all in place. You can either do 5 at a time, or if you don't want some of the sentiments that are on the stamps, you only want certain ones, just do that one that you want. You don't have to do them all. That's better. They're all clicked into place. They're all in there nicely. So now when I bring this over, I can have a look and see if they're lined up as I would like them to be. And I think they look fine to me. So then I can bring in my ink pad. I can heat emboss these if I want to. Or so I could do it with embossing ink and then add some embossing powder once I've taken the banners out and put some powder on them. And then I can just firm this down. I could do coloured ones. So it's a really good idea to have a die cutting session. So cut lots and lots of banners out. And then there are several sets of stamps. So there is the vertical sentiments. There are the birthday sentiments, which is just wanted to say happy birthday, have the best day ever, enjoy every minute and have a magical birthday. And then there is also the plain banners that have got happy birthday, special day, make a wish, have the best day ever, and it's your birthday. And then there is also the stitched banner, which I haven't added the stitched lines, but you could quite easily as well, now that you've got that the waist all set up. Wishing you a wonderful day. Thank you for all you do. Special delivery just for you, with love and best wishes, and sending you happiness. So all of these will work perfectly for your banners, but obviously there's going to be other stamps that you've got that you could use as well. But because I've got this now quite substantial, the fact that it's cut out, die cut from the stencil film, it makes it much easier to pop them in and do lots in one go. So I've got I can put these in a pot now, ready for any cards that I create, and I've got some sentiments ready to go for them. Oh, I was going to actually, right, so let's do, I was going to do the stitching or the plain one around it. Let's have a look. Okay, so let's line that up. Pop that one in. Again, you do need to make sure that everything is clicked into place. So all the bits in between are right, that the little bits, the little notches on the banners are nicely clicked into place, that you have your banners up the right way as well. So let's just clean this off. And then we'll bring, let's bring one of the stitched ones in. So that was the stitched banner wording. Pop that back in there. Okay, so again, this has got hearts that you can line up. But again, I would definitely be eyeballing this to make sure that it looks okay. Right. let's try. And before I go down, actually stamp it out, what I would do is bring this back round, have another little peek. It looks, you can never really tell. If this stencil film, if it was a colour or black, I mean, I've done it out of black card before. Oh, perfect. I should have more faith in myself, shouldn't I? So now we've got, oh, I don't take them out. I'm going to do some wording on them now. So I have that lovely stitched edge to them. So leave them all in there. And let's pop that back. And I won't do the stitched sentiments or the plain ones. I'm going to do these ones, and I wanted to show you these because these have all been made separately. So instead of having them as a set of 5 that you stamp in one go, these are individual. So you pop these in and line them up. Now I know my have a birthday is a bit wobbly, so I'm going to put it in and then I'm going to straighten it. But just concentrate on lining each one up. I'm going to move this one down a little bit because some of them I chop off. So this one here, if I get the birthday straight, that all looks okay. Pick it up, and now I can open it back up, but I can lift this end off and just make sure that it's on the same line. So does that look straighter? That looks much better now. So now I can ink these up. Oh, you definitely need to, Yvonne. It just makes it so much easier doing it this way. Like, die cut them and then stamp them. Oh yeah, they would, wouldn't they? So there we go. We've now got the stamping around the edge, and we've got our have a magical birthday, enjoy every minute, have the best day ever, happy birthday, if I can get it out, and just wanted to say, whoops, can't get that one out, there we go. So just be aware that you need to be a bit careful of them because the ink will stay wet for a little while. Get rid of that. So that's a really good tip. I would highly recommend this stencil film if you want to do make something a bit more permanent for your die cuts. So let me, don't know what I've done with my card now. Oh, it's here. Okay. Right. So as I've got birthday on here, we can have, you can put this in the middle. We can chop one end of our banner off like I did on my card and inked around the edges. So I think I may well do that actually. I can't even cut a little bit off like that nice and straight, so bear with me. So I'm going to tip that up the other way. Pop the end of my banner out. And then if I wanted to, I could add the stitch marks because I have a black pen, a fine black pen, just so that it all matches in if you want to. And then I'm going to have a pink blending brush. And I'm just going to ink a little bit around the edge just to set this off from the background of my card. Whoops. It's going to tie in because it's obviously the colour that I stamped with. So just blend a little bit on the top. Bring that in. And I am going to offset it now. I could offset it to the edge of here. I could overlap it, overhang it, which I think is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to be very naughty and let's cut one of these in half. and pop them on with a foam pad. Now I might need to squish them up a little bit because they're a little bit too big. There we go. You just squish the edges in, it should be fine. I don't like to cut them really because it gunks all my scissors up, so I'd rather just loop it over a little bit so it catches on itself. Come on. That's it. We should be fine now. So I'm going to overhang a little bit. Make sure with your wording, and I'm sorry if my head came in then. There we go. Oh, the stamping press. I don't know where I would be without a stamping press. In fact, it quite frightens me when I have to just stamp. Okay, so let's have a look in my glosses box. We need some nice bright pinks. What have we got? Don't know if they're the right colour really. Not really. There's an odd one on there. And there's a few pinks on there. It's not really the right colour either, is it? That definitely isn't. Oh, I tell you what would probably be nice, actually. There's a couple of glittery ones there. That would be quite nice. So let's have a big one there and have a couple of little ones. Do like to do them in sort of like a triangle. Bear with me. Let's find. Oh, are they red? Oh, they are. Are they red and glittery? Oh, perfect. So we'll have a medium one, and then we'll have. So we've got red glitter glosses on there, and then we just need a little bit. So look at all these lovely sentiments I've got now. And now that I've left it set up in my press, I can do some black and white heat embossed ones so that they'll all be done and ready. And I can have a nice pot of sentiments. And then the other thing I should do is I should get my foilables out, my sentiments, and foil a lot of foilables in gold and silver. And then they would be ready to go. Okay, so I'm just scribbling some glitter onto my daisy as well. So there we go. Now I could have inked my frame to have made it pink as well if I wanted to, just to add a bit more colour. But, oh, Philippa, thank you. It is a Julie card, isn't it? And it's probably a Julie card because it's got a daisy on it. I did just want to say that don't forget that these are available from my stockists who are Dragon's Papercraft, Wow Embossing Powder, Let's Create, Forget Me Not Craft Cabin, Maximum Crafts, Craft Bliss, Craft Stash, The Art of Craft, Intercraft, oh excuse me, our new stockist Craft Mania, and then in America from Simon Says, in Australia from J Craft, happy birthday Jeanette, and in the Netherlands from Kim at the Hobby Studio. And I did notice that Kim was watching, so thank you for joining us, Kim. Okay, right, next card. Let's pop this to one side. In fact, I'm going to put it on my windowsill so they don't get spoiled because of the wet glitter glue. Okay, so next up, this is quite a quick one, so I won't keep you for too long, I'm sorry. I know you don't mind really, do you? Okay, so I have die cut some daisies already. I have a 5x7 card blank. I have a piece of card that I have cut down to give me a little border all the way around the edge of my 5x7 card. And I have a piece of vellum, and I have my embossing frame, embossing folder, which is probably one of my favourites. It was Mum's. I don't know where she got it from. It's a lovely dotty one and it just embosses beautifully. So bear with me. I just have to swap my plates over. it is just there. It's a lovely pattern, but it's just in the background. And I just think that's what embossing folders, to me, that's what an embossing folder is for. Okay, so I'm not going to pop that on my card yet. So the next thing I'm going to do is my vellum, and I'm going to tear this. Now I want to open the vellum up, so I want to lift it up, and that way I can control my wiggles, if you like. So I am pulling in one direction, then I can turn it away and pull back up in another direction, because I want it to be random. Okay, and then I turn it over. I would like to keep it so that the daisies fit on roughly. So I'm going to tear down the bottom here. Again, lifting up, so you're opening the layers up like you do with any card that you tear or paper. If you lift it up, you're opening up that core of whatever it is that you're tearing, even on copy paper. So always lift up. Okay, so that's going to work. That's fine. Let's just pop out the extra bits from my daisies. So I've got 3 daisies to go across. A little bit there, a little bit there. Okay, so they're going to fit across perfectly. And I'm going to attach it all to my piece of vellum. But before I do that, oh, I have noticed I've got little marks of my flowers on that embossing folder. I wonder if they were dirty. Oh, it's the die cut, right. Oh, I can see what I've done now. It'll be fine because I'm going to put the vellum over the top. Can you see? I've actually put die cut flowers in the embossing folder. Let me see if you can see it. Yeah, you can see them. And because the ink was wet, so like I said about the die cuts and cleaning it, I didn't clean my embossing folder. So on my embossing folder, I can just about make out. So before I do anything else, I should have cleaned up any ink. So hopefully, I can't see them so much now. No, that looks clean now. So there you go. It won't matter for this one because I am going to place the vellum on the top. Or will it matter? I don't want to be able to see them through, do I? No, I think we'll get away with it. But that's what it was. So I hadn't cleaned my embossing folder. Thought I'd broken it for a minute. Okay, so I'm going to use a little sponge dauber and I'm going to use dried marigold. I'm going to load that up and I'm just going to add some ink to the edge of my vellum. Now, this ink won't, or it'll take a long time to dry. So if I went near this with embossing powder, I could emboss this if I wanted to. No, you can't get the staff these days. You're right, Brian. Yeah, so this ink is going to take quite a while to dry on the vellum. So do be aware of that. Just be a little bit careful. But it will dry. But you could, if you wanted to, you could make that gold and embossed if you wanted to. I mean, how pretty would that look? Okay, so I'm going to fold this around my piece and just give that a nice firm edge and then pull it tight and do the same at the other end so that your vellum is nice and taut across your card. So then I can flip it over and just with a bit of glue we'll just bring that round, firm that down, do the same this side. Okay, so now our daisies are ready to go on, we need to colour them. So I will do that first. This could go onto our card, and I am going to use a piece of trusty cardboard. That'll be fine. It doesn't matter if it's not the complete size of my card or my panel. It's going to give it enough stability, and plus the embossing is onto a 300 GSM piece of card. So the fact that I've got a bit of a border around the edge, that will be fine. But I might as well get this on my card, and then I can pop this under my die cutting machine while we colour the daisies, and then it'll be lovely and flat. So line this up, nice border all the way around the edge. Just firm that down. Put the lid back on the glue. But how lovely does that little bit of colour look just on the vellum? It really does highlight it and draw your eye to the vellum on the card. Right, so it's underneath my die cutting plates with my machine on the top while I bring my daisies in, and we can colour these in. Now I think this one's probably not going to be too bad out of my clean colour. So I just want a little bit in the centre, and bring in my water brush, making sure I've got my green off. And I can just drag that colour out a little bit if my water brush is going to work. Okay, so in the centre, some colours drag out better than others. I found a little tip. So if you find like that these colours aren't dragging very well, if you put a little bit of colour down on your mat and then pick the colour up, you will actually be able to like paint with them and get a bit more colour showing on your die cut. I feel like it's my water brush a little bit. Right, so my colour's a little bit stronger now, so you can see it. It's a bit stronger in the middle and it fades out down my petals, which is what I want. So I'll put the initial bit on, and then I will pick up a little bit of colour and just drag that out. I don't know why, like some pigments would react. I suppose some pigments do react a little bit different. But I did find that this did enable me to, any colours that don't blend as well, just by putting a bit of down on my mat and picking it up with my brush, it did enable me to blend the colour a bit better. Right, so we're almost there. And because I've got all those sentiments done, I've now got sentiments obviously ready to go on this card as well. I just know what's going to happen. I'm going to keep pushing to get some water, and then all of a sudden it's going to start flooding everywhere. I might need a bit more colour down. I have to say sometimes it's better to put it on the white matte part of your work surface than the black. A bit easier to see over there. But they look lovely. And for me, this is, I do love a bit of colouring. It is so therapeutic. And I know you all do too, or lots of you do. Yeah, it's a really good way to colour, isn't it, Bev? You never use the zig straight on. Wow. Oh, I do in certain cases. But you do get lovely soft pastel colours by doing it that way. I mean, this you know, to think that's the same colour, but just where I'm using the water brush to pick it up, it's so much paler. So yes, you will get really lovely soft pastel colours by doing it, scribbling it out. We used to have Mum and I both used to have an old dinner plate that we scribbled on and never ever washed it up. Like, that was what we painted from all the time. Okay, so again in my leaves, and I'll make sure it's gone, the orange. I don't blend a mucky colour. I think it's something to do with my brush again, because the green always blends beautifully and it's not doing a lot. There we go, like one. And then I just need some little yellow middles, and we can get our card out from underneath the die cutting machine and just see. I mean, I highly recommend that when I'm making cards, I always put them under my die cutting machine, just so it really flattens it before I put any dimension and things on. When I've done my layers, or if I'm having layers, I would always put it under my die cutting machine. It flattens it, and especially if I'm layering it up with cardboard, it just gives it such a lovely finish. You should, Bev, because you'll get such a totally different look as well. So it's always nice to have a different look. Okay, so I'm just doing my centres of my flowers because I've got to have yellow daisies. Okay, let's clean my brush before I've wiped my hand all in that ink and put it all over the back of my card. Okay, so now my card is lovely and flat on my card blank, and now I'm ready to pop my daisies down. We'd probably start with the one in the centre, and then I know where to go after that. So just a little bit of glue. You don't need much, and because it tends to spurt out a little bit on vellum, so I'm just going to take any big blobs off because vellum isn't very porous. Now I'm going to use my card, my lines on my card, on my mat, to align the middle one roughly. There we go. Gosh, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 2, yeah. Do the same again, so little bits of glue on the back of my flowers, a little bit on my stems, but then just blot the worst of it off, and then pop those flowers down. Same again. I can't for the life of me remember the lady's name who asked me if I would make this. So blot off the glue, make sure it's about even both sides, pop that down. I don't mind if they're not completely stuck, don't mind if a few petals are lifted up, actually quite like it, adds a bit of movement to it. And then, oh, let's have Sending You Happiness. How nice is that? Okay, so I'm just going to use whatever ink is left on my blending tool just to add a little bit of colour around my banner. So it's going to all tie in because this is what I've used on the vellum. And then I am going to pop it down with, actually, this was a little bit wide, wasn't it? Let's cut it a little bit thinner. There we go. And we'll just pop a couple of bits down. There we go. And I need to come up. I'm going to go over those 2 sets of stems, I think. Oh, yes, lovely. Fab. And then there is some peachy. Oh, look at those. Perfect. So this is out of cotton candy. So let's have just 3 like that. Have some little ones. And the vellum is only attached around the back. So nothing across the centre, nothing behind my daisies or anything, but it works beautifully. So 3 little cards for you. Quick and easy. I've really enjoyed that. And I will try and make something with what is left, and I will share that with you later. So thank you so much. Let me just flip you round. Bear with me. Oops, don't lose your computer. There. Okay. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you'll give it a go. If you do, please post your cards in Crafty Friends of Julie Hickey Designs. If you're not a member of the group, then please join up. We'd love to have you in there and to see all the amazing inspiration. And yeah, have a fabulous rest of the day. I'll take some pickies and put them up, and I will also download it onto YouTube. I've just done Tracy's video, so her Aztec card now is up on YouTube if you want to watch it. Okay, take care, have a lovely rest of the day, and thank you so much for your company. Take care, bye.